What's up, nerds? Welcome to a DNA Reacts. We are going to talk about the game we've been waiting for 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, some of us have been waiting for 10 years. I guess some of us just bought the game recently and decided it looked fun.
Is that what you thought? The game looked fun, so you bought it?
I mean, I Final Fantasy 15, for those who may not know what we're talking about currently.
Yeah, we're going to dive deep, kind of deep into Final Fantasy 15. There's going to be spoilers. Not that we've really beaten the game yet, but there's going to be, just be aware, there will be spoilers, slight spoilers in here. We're going to talk about the open world. We're going to talk about the characters. We're going to talk about some of the monsters, stuff like that. Joey.
Yeah.
You like this game.
I really like this game.
I like this game.
You do?
I've played very little of this game, but what I have played, I do like, and I do plan on playing a lot of it tonight, actually. So, what do you think of it?
I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with it for what I've been doing, and what I've been doing has really just been a bunch of side quests, because I'm one of those people who, if I see a quest in my quest log, I have to get it out of there as soon as possible. So, the main story for me has been sitting on a back burner while I've been going through and doing all the side ones, but it still has been a blast. Some of the side quests do get a little repetitive. I mean, there's ones you go, you really go talk to one person. They go, okay, go here, find the one specifically. There's a lady who is really interested in frogs. She's like a biologist or something. And she tells you, this time go find these red frogs. So you go find 5 red frogs, which were actually a pain to find. And then you come back to her and she says, okay. You find her in another town. She goes, okay, find these yellow frogs. And then you have to go find these. Yeah. You actually only have to find the frogs twice. Then after that, she makes you go kill a giant frog. And then after that, you go kill a dragon. So it gets better. But I mean, there are quests that are pretty similar, to start off. But, I mean, there is enough variety where if you don't want to do the similar quests in a row, you can just go do something else for a while and then come back.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, the side quests are all pretty fun. They're at least somewhat interesting. Some of them are kind of just, go here, kill this monster. But, I mean, still, they're all fun.
Yeah. Yeah, when I booted it up, I was like, I didn't really know what to think. I watched you play it last week a little bit, and I liked what I was seeing. Mm-hmm. And then I got that gift card from GameStop and had a whole thing there, but that's a different story for a different time. But I did buy Final Fantasy 15 because when I watched you play, I was like, I want to play this game, so I bought it, and I really like it. And when I booted it up, I had this weird sense of like nostalgia a little bit for like 10 and 12.
Yeah.
It's weird. It has this weird mix of fantasy and like futuristic. I mean, you're driving a car. I mean, like
a car compared to airship is kind of like less down. But I mean, I understand. Like, instead of being kind of like the whole,
it's like this weird real world thing set in this fantasy land.
Yeah, instead of being like the typical Final Fantasy type of place where you're going from like these weird little rundown villages to these like other, and like even the cities, they look quite off. They're not really anything you would ever expect to see in the real world. Like, there's like weird shaped buildings and different things like that, or stuff made purely out of magic. Whereas like in this game, it almost looks like a real city, but then they have these like magical aspects to it, you know? So it almost seems like a more realistic world, but then with these extra fantasy aspects in it, so.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I went through like the battle tutorial at the beginning, and then like that first like real, I guess, gameplay moment is like you're pushing the car.
Yeah,
it was like this really weird, like, because you look at Final Fantasy 9, there's like this big opera and you're the thieves and you're coming in to do this fake like play thing to capture the princess, or like you look at 10, it opens with that awesome blitzball cutscene.
Yeah.
And, you get to this game and you're like, I'm pushing a car. which really sets the tone, like kind of sets the tone for the story, where it's like, the story is simple, which I think benefits this game.
Yeah.
Because the story is your main protagonist is Noctis and his 4, I guess, what I got from it, like they kind of work for the royal family, but they're also his best friends.
Yes.
And you're on a road trip because Noctis is getting married, and that's where the car comes in. You are on literally on a on a road trip.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like that the story is simple because you get into like as much as I like Final Fantasy 12, you get in there and it's like this big political like story where everything is confusing up to a certain point, and you're just like at one point you're just like, man, I don't understand what's going on. I'm just gonna go to the bounty board and hunt these monsters and kill them and take them back and get whatever. And
I mean, this one does get a little political the further you get in.
yeah, I mean,
But it does start off simple.
you're getting
At least
married.
You get that start to give you some kind of foundation of where you're going and what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, and like the prime thing about this is you're getting married to a girl from another kingdom,
Yeah.
but you're still like it's like an arranged marriage, but you're still in love with this girl. Is that the thing?
I mean, at least that's what I've gotten so far. I haven't really met this person yet, the one you're marrying, because I haven't gotten that far in the game. But like, there's at one point where this dog comes running up to you and starts barking at you, and I'm just like, why is there this random dog barking at me? And Noctis bends down and picks up this like book, and it's a note from her, and apparently there's writing these notes between the two of them, and so I mean it is, she is someone your character cares deeply for, and you get a little bit of cutscenes that show like them growing up a little bit, so it is definitely, it's not like just an arranged marriage for like political benefit. So it is someone that your character generally cares about. So I think that adds a little bit more to the story as well too. So
Yeah. I really want to like I really want to play this game like way more than I have been. But like, what do you think of the open world?
I like
Because
it.
it seems like an aspect of the game that they really spend a lot of time on.
Yeah. It's funny because it's kind of, to me, it kind of almost reminds me of like an MMO kind of feel, because like a lot of MMOs have this really open world and you just go run around and do these quests that you want to. So, I mean, it's kind of like a single player experience in an MMO type environment, I guess. Is kind of how I feel it kind of like comes across. I mean, it's a lot of fun. One thing I really like is the fact that if you go out at nighttime, there's these, especially at the beginning of the game, there's these monsters that are impossible for you to defeat. There are these like level 30 to 40 some like creatures that they're these demons or what they're called, and that they're just there and you literally can't do anything. So you pretty much avoid going out at night in the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing I really like about it. I haven't really come across too many very strong monsters like in this open world, but apparently there are like bosses pretty much that you can just come across.
Mm-hmm.
I did actually run into Midgardstormer, who is like one of the like kind of, depending on what kind of game you play, either like a summon or like a what are they called in 14? Primals.
Yeah.
So it's like one of like the stronger people. Like it was just this giant snake just standing there in this like field, and I'm like, well, he's level 58. I'm not touching him yet. So I ran away. But so I mean, like apparently, it's really cool that you can actually come across things like that in this open world and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoy the open world, but it makes it. I mean, to me, like I've said, I've been doing side quests, so it kind of makes me feel like they didn't put so much emphasis on the main story.
Mm-hmm.
So like it almost, I don't know, maybe it feels like they might have been lacking in that area. I haven't gotten to the main story yet, so I can't really criticize it currently. But I'm just hoping that it's actually a good developed story instead of just being like, okay, they gave you this game to explore, and then there's kind of a story you do.
Yeah. You were talking about the combat a little bit. What do you like about the combat system? Because it's an active. It's an action. I mean, they're marketing it as an action RPG.
That's really what it is. I mean, it kind of reminds me like Kingdom Hearts kind of like style, I guess, but like a little bit more complicated because there's a lot more like strategy in the way you want to like alter the way your characters are like equipped and whatnot. I know like at the beginning they start you out in action mode for combat. I turned it to wait mode so I could scan the monsters myself. You can get I forget his name. What, your party member, the one with the glasses that's always very serious.
The one that's very serious.
Yeah, it's not Prompto and it's not Gladio. It's they call him Iggy. It's like okay, well, I'm gonna hate myself because I know this, but I can't remember right now. He has actually a move where he can scan people as well, but he takes a while to use that. So I like being able to scan them myself. But then I also really enjoy that you can go into your menu, like your equipment menu and stuff mid battle, so you can change around like all your gear and weapons and stuff. So if you come across an enemy that's weak to a certain element or weak to a certain weapon type, you can make sure to equip that when you're like in the battle instead of like making sure you have to be preemptive and like have everything equipped before the battles, because that's how every other Ignis. That's it. Okay.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah. Because you have to have like in other Final Fantasy games and other like even Kingdom Hearts, you have to have everything equipped and ready to go before you start the battle.
Right.
Because I know in Kingdom Hearts, if you click pause, all it does is say paused. And You can't do anything. And on most Final Fantasy games, you weren't able to do anything like equipment wise. So I thought that was a really cool thing that they added.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd switch it to wait right away. I went like even before I started the game, I went through all the settings because like a lot of people are saying change it to wait because you can do more without like worrying about them attacking you while you're like standing there or whatever. So I switched to wait, and I'm glad I did. I really like the combat system a lot, and like it does remind me of Kingdom Hearts, but it's so different from Kingdom Hearts in a different way that like, and I think that warp mechanic, I still need to get that down.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have to play with it for a while before you can finally.
Yeah,
get the hang
but
of
it's
it.
cool. I like it a lot. So it's I like I like this game, and I feel like a lot of people like this game, even though there's like certain things that people have issues with, like the fast travel stuff. I guess
The load time is really the bad part about this game. That's the only downfall I
you
had.
should get a PS4 Pro, Joey.
I don't think that'll help a whole lot. You really need if you want to fix the load times, you probably need a solid state hard drive in your PlayStation.
Yeah,
And like that's the only way I could really realistically see this like changing the load time. But I mean, like there's times where I would get into my car and like click to fast travel, and like it would say, well, I click to travel and it says it'll take a minute to travel there. Would you like to fast travel? And I'm like, fast traveling is going to actually take longer than me probably just riding on the car. So I just said no, and I'll ride on the car to get there.
yeah,
But it's I don't know. Yeah, the travel system's kind of weird. I mean, once you get to a certain point, it gets better. I'm a high enough level now where the fast travel will work at nighttime as well as during the day, so you don't have to worry about staying in the inn to make sure you're there during the only out during the day. But
yeah,
one thing that's nice you can do is you can pretty much travel between the inn you last rested at in your car freely. It doesn't matter where it's at. Like it'll just load between those zones. So like what I'll do sometimes is if it's nighttime and I have a lot of experience and don't really feel like trying to be out, I'll just go back to the last inn I was at, and then after I'm done there, just go right back to my car and be ready to go again. So I mean the travel system's kind of weird. It's got this little quirks you have to work out, but I think it's not too terrible.
yeah. Let's talk about these characters for a little bit. I know your favorite character is Sydney. Oh my gosh, that is the worst
I understand what
Southern accent.
I understand
I've
what
ever
they
heard in
did
my
with her,
life.
but yeah, that accent is just awful. I actually almost
And it's sad because I hear she's actually kind of like a likable character if you can get past that.
yeah, I almost turned the game to Japanese like voice because I wanted to hear what they sounded like trying to imitate like a southern like accent because I thought that would have just been hilarious. I didn't actually do it, but I don't know.
But let's talk about this crew, this crazy crew. So Noctis.
He's actually my least favorite of the four.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got that. I feel like a lot of people are leaning towards Gladiolus,
Yeah.
and like because he's like the protector, but he also like when you're driving in your car, he's just like reading a book.
Yeah, he's the quiet, strong type, I guess is what you
Yeah.
would call him.
Yeah.
But,
Who's your favorite character? The cook. Which one's the cook?
he's Iggy.
Yeah.
Ignis.
Yeah. These characters. Have you gotten any guest characters yet in your party? I mean, I guess.
Yes. Oh, Kor. He's the general of the army that was under the king of, so your father in the game.
Yeah.
His nickname is the Immortal. So I mean, at the point where I got like, because when he joins you for a little bit at the beginning of the game, he's like way stronger than you.
Yeah.
So like anything you fight,
like,
he literally walks up to him.
He's
hits them, and
he's
they're
like
dead.
Auron in Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, that's a good way to put him.
God, Auron was so cool. I miss that character.
So he's pretty cool. I don't know. I really like Prompto, honestly. He's a little annoying at sometimes, especially when he starts like repeating some of the things he says. But he really loves chocobos to the point where it's funny, because you'll get to a point where there's like this quest where you have to help this chocobo ranch, and he's like all adamant about it, and everyone else is just kind of like, we don't really have time for this, and he's almost like telling you to wait, like make the time to do this.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then like if sometimes when you win a battle, he'll start singing the like the victory theme. And it's pretty. He's like ba 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 da 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 da.
You don't want to get that copyright strike, Joey. Stop sounding so on tune.
Sorry.
Speaking of music, though, one of the coolest things I learned you can do in this game is you can buy soundtracks to listen to from the old games.
Yeah. And you could have them play in your car, and then if you look in the key items in your shop from your car, you can buy like it was a I don't know if they called it an MP3 player. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah. So you can listen to music while you're going out or running around too.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny. But yeah, you can listen to like pretty much every other Final Fantasy game. They have the soundtrack there, so you can listen to it while you're driving.
So if you want them sweet memories of Final Fantasy 13, you can listen to Final Fantasy 13.
I actually liked the soundtrack from 13. That was one of the ones I was actually playing through because I enjoyed it.
So okay, I didn't really have an issue with Final Fantasy 13 1.
Right.
I actually kind of liked that game because it did remind me of 10 a little bit, because 10 is very linear. 10 is very like, okay, you're really upgrading your characters, but in the game doesn't really open up until like you get the airship, and then you can go back to previous areas. But even those areas are very hallway-like structures. And I actually didn't really have a huge issue with 13. I understand why people didn't like it, because it's not like, it wasn't like 8 or 9 where you had this big sprawling world map, or 12. But anyways, we're not here to talk about 13.
I mean, you could kind of see why 15 was supposed to be like made alongside 13, because 15 is this wide open world experience, where 13 was kind of just the general story, kind of, you play through the game just for the story kind of feel.
Yeah.
So like I understand that, but like, I don't know. I think people gave 13 too much crap for what it was. But
yeah. I mean, I understand the sequels to 13. It was like, meh. But like 13 was not a terrible game.
I didn't think so. Other people argue that it was, but I don't think so.
I kind of feel like it's a little bit funny, because I went back, because people talk trash about 13 now, and people are definitely talking about 13 now because this was tied to 13 at one point, and like trashing it. And these same websites that, these people still work for these companies, like Game Informer gave 13 a 9.25, and IGN gave it like an 8.75, and like, which aren't bad scores at all. No. And it's just funny how looking back at stuff, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. But we're, again, 13, not here to talk about that. Customization. Can you customize your characters?
You can change what they're wearing, but it doesn't really. I mean, right now I've only got 4 different outfits, and the one.
I think Noctis's hat outfit is cool.
Their casual outfits offer no stats, so there's really, you don't want to use those. And I'm like, even if they looked good, I wouldn't want to. But Noctis looks ridiculous. He's, wearing, the funny hat, and his jacket looks almost like it's like the poofy vest almost looking thing. It's just...
Yeah.
It's what kind of person thinks that's good, fashion?
Yeah, I don't know if you ever played this game for PS2, but when I was watching the other day, the characters, when you put them in their casual outfits, look like characters from this game called The Bouncer. And, that was one of my very first PS2 games. Oh my gosh, that game was amazing. It was this brawler, this hallway brawler, but depending on what character you were during that mission, changed the mission.
Oh, okay.
And then you could go back in New Game Plus and keep upgrading your characters. And, once you got to like New Game Plus 4, it gave you like extra levels because like the boss at the end of the game didn't really die, and he has this extra form that you need to fight. It was good. I really enjoyed that game. But like you wanted to level up each character evenly, because like if you're going into New Game Plus 4 and you've only leveled up one character the whole time, like your other characters are gonna die like instantly. So
Right.
it's, you know how RPGs work.
Yeah.
But it was this cool like beat 'em up RPG type thing. But your character, your clothes give you stats.
Yeah.
It doesn't really affect your stats all that much.
I mean, it's a decent amount. I mean, I know Prompto has no health whatsoever, so I'm literally giving him anything to give him like a little bit more health, and the one version gives him more health, so it's like I definitely want to keep that on him. I mean, I think the way they worked this game, I think it works well. You don't necessarily need to know how to equip your characters to make the game playable or beatable. It makes it so when you want to do the hard things that it becomes easier, but it's not, it's not going to kill you if you put on their casual outfits that offer no stats. So
Yeah. Last thing before we wrap this episode up, what don't you like about this game, or what is there a mechanic in this game that you wished it was different?
The magic in the game is kind of odd, and I don't know if it's just because I haven't gotten used to it yet, but I haven't really found a place where it's like, okay, when there's a huge group of enemies, you can use magic, but if there's like a single enemy, there's really is no point to use your magic. You're pretty much more effective just using your weapons and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wish there was a way you could focus more on magical attacks, and I guess if you spec into that right, and you probably do it the right way, it'll work. But it definitely feels like this game is more centered around you have to play with weapons. Mm-hmm. So that's something I guess I kind of wish I was able to do was more, because I'm always playing caster or more magic type person. So right. I wish that was something else I could do. But like I said, that might just be because I haven't fully figured out the magic system yet. Like I know you can use items to make it so your spells cast like 3 times in a row instead of just casting once. Mm-hmm. So it might need to just be me like figuring that out, but. I mean, it's the magic is definitely more complex than I would have liked to use magic with.
Yeah.
And then there's a ridiculously long cooldown. After you cast one spell, you can't cast any other spell for like a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That seems a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last important question.
Okay.
Is there a snowman mask for you to wear?
Not that I've found yet.
But final thoughts on Final Fantasy 15.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely going to play all the way through it and probably try to 100% complete the game. I'll probably try to get, platinum it. Mm-hmm. That'll be my second platinum next to Bloodborne.
Nice.
Nice. But, yeah.
We need to get back to Bloodborne, too. Yeah. So we're going to do a bigger discussion on this on NGR soon, and you're going to have to come on that episode.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have guests from the Choker Bros podcast. Daniel Freitas, he's going to come back and talk about Final Fantasy, and I need you there because you're my
fantasy guy, even though I'm tired of fantasy.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this DNA Reacts. If you're listening to the MP3 of Gamer FM, this is also on that episode as well. So hopefully you're checking out that podcast as well. It's our new gaming podcast that we're doing. So Joey, I love you.
Love you too, Corey.
I'm glad you're here.
Glad to be here. Glad you're here.
Yep, I'm here. Like, subscribe, and share to our YouTube page. Remember, you can always find us on DNAnetwork.net and right here on our YouTube channel. Check it all out. Follow us at the DNA Network on Twitter. And, it's been DNA Reacts. Until next time, we love you, I think.